Good afternoon, Cleveland Opera Theater. Welcome to Opera 101. My name is Megan Thompson. I'm the Director of Education and Outreach. We just wrapped up Rossini month in July, and we are still in the midst of our Barber of Seville mini-series. So we thought that for the month of August, it might be good to go back and talk a little bit about one of Rossini's primary influencers, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. So many of us are already familiar with Mozart as well as a lot of his compositions. So I'll keep this pretty straightforward today. Born in 1756, Mozart was one of the most important composers of the classical era. As you probably already know, he was a child prodigy, and he was already composing music and performing before royalty by the age of 5. Of his 600 plus works, we don't even know exactly how many because there are tons that I'm sure were lost to history. But of all of his works, he had 22 full-length operas as well as a couple unfinished operas. And then several of those 22 are still regularly performed, meaning very often in the top 10, top 20 internationally. So you've probably heard of Die Zauberflöte, or The Magic Flute, Marriage of Figaro, Le Nozze di Figaro, Così fan tutte, Don Giovanni. These are perhaps the most popular Mozartian operas. He really enjoyed composing opera, and his hometown of Salzburg really didn't provide a lot of opportunity for him to do this. So he actually started to travel around Europe looking for other opportunities and other gigs, so he'd have some more opportunity to really pursue his operatic passion. So he visited places like Augsburg, Mannheim, Paris, Munich, Vienna, all over the place. And then during this time, while he's traveling around, he's being exposed to other composers' works, other pieces of stage work. He ends up meeting Joseph Haydn. They become very good friends. Joseph Haydn would probably be the other big name in the classical era. So if you're looking for that true classical music, I would say look at Mozart and Haydn. But Haydn really admired Mozart's work. In fact, in 1785, Haydn told Mozart's father, "I tell you before God and as an honest man, your son is the greatest composer known to me by person and repute. He has taste, and what is more, the greatest skill in composition." In fact, I would say all of the central traits of the classical era can be found in Mozart's work. The clarity, the balance, the transparency and the harmonics are really all the hallmarks of the era. The simplistic composition, I don't want to say simplistic because it was very well thought out. It wasn't that it was overly simplified, but it wasn't cluttered as some of our later music started getting with a lot of extra stuff. It was a very straightforward 1-4-5 pattern from a music theory analytical standpoint. So it was very straightforward, very easy to analyze from a theoretical standpoint for the most part. But all of this music, Mozart was a master at taking these very simple concepts and simple chord structures, but doing such amazing work with them to create text painting and dramatic painting with the music. So, for instance, in Don Giovanni, he really uses the orchestra to bring the characters to life. Mozart also studied many of the Baroque masters and what they did in their compositions. So he especially loved the works of Handel and Bach and spent a lot of time studying those scores. So you can really hear some of that Baroque influence, particularly in the fugal passages of the Magic Flute. So it's a very interesting growth into the classical era while still bringing some of those traits of that earlier Baroque style into his music. In the early 1780s, Mozart actually took a bit of a break from operatic composition. He wanted to start focusing more on his own piano playing, piano concerts. He was writing a lot of concerti at this point in his life. But thankfully for us, by the end of 1785, he began his very famous operatic collaboration with the librettist Lorenzo da Ponte, who collaborated on 3 of Mozart's most famous operas. 1786 is especially interesting to us because this is when we saw the highly successful premiere of The Marriage of Figaro. And The Marriage of Figaro is actually, I pause for a little commercial moment here, Cleveland Opera Theater's very first installment of Opera Explorers, which we released in March. We have different packets of activities and history about the Marriage of Figaro on our website, so you can watch our production of the opera as well as download these resources to enjoy with the entire family, anywhere from, you know, your 3-year-olds to your 90-year-olds. We have materials for everyone. So check out clevelandoperatheater.org/explorer and you can learn more. And we'll be releasing our next Explorer series installment in September. So stay tuned for what that is. Now, the other thing that a lot of folks know about Mozart is that he passed away very young. And so there's a lot of mystery surrounding his death in 1791. We're not quite sure what happened. The official cause of death that was listed was severe miliary fever, but that's really just referring to a specific rash that looks a lot like millet seeds. So it's a lot more like symptoms rather than an official disease. So since then, researchers have suggested more than 100 different possibilities as to what caused Mozart's death, including everything from rheumatic fever to influenza, mercury poisoning, a rare kidney condition. Nobody's quite sure. There's no hard evidence. So it's always going to be a mystery, at least for the foreseeable future. So if you're enjoying learning some more about Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, definitely make sure you tune in to Cleveland Opera Theater's Opera 101 every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday during the month of August. We are going to be here at 12:15 p.m. Every day we'll discuss some other aspect of Mozart, his contemporaries, his works, all sorts of fun. So if you have any specific questions about Mozart, drop them in the comments here. We'll make sure that we address them in one of our August sessions. You can also contact us via our website or any of our social media channels. clevelandoperatheater.org. We're Cleveland Opera Theater on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn. We're on everything. So make sure you like us, follow us, subscribe to our channel, subscribe to our mailing list. That way you can stay in touch with all of the amazing content we have coming up, including the remaining 3 episodes of our Barber of Seville miniseries. So thank you so much for tuning in. I look forward to seeing you next time. Again, my name's Megan Thompson with Cleveland Opera Theater. Have a great afternoon.